What's up guys, it's Josh back with another video, and today I want to show you guys how to install and configure Apache on Ubuntu server. Now Apache is a widely used web server. I would argue that it's the most used web server on the internet that allows you to host and serve web pages and other applications. Now in this tutorial we'll cover three main topics, and that's installing the Apache server on Ubuntu, as well as configuring Apache and then setting up virtual host. And by the end of this tutorial you should have a good understanding of how to get Apache server set up on Ubuntu. So let's get started. Alright, cool. So I'm logged into my Ubuntu 22.04 server, and I'll just scroll up so you guys can see. But the first thing we need to do is update the server. And so you can use the app package manager, and all we have to do is type sudo apt update and then press enter. That'll refresh those repositories so we can install Apache. We'll get the the latest package and all that stuff. So, and then also it'll check for updates, and as you can see we have 3 packages that can be upgraded, but I'm gonna ignore that and we'll just go right into the install. And the package name for Apache is Apache 2. So let's go down and get it installed, and all we have to do is type sudo apt install Apache 2 and press enter. That'll go through, install Apache as well as all its dependencies, and then get it set up. It'll actually start the service for you as well as enable the service. Alright, cool. So the install is complete, and I want to show you guys those services though, at least so you can see. And I'll just run a command called sudo system ctl, and then let's look at the status. There's the status option for services that are running on the system. So Apache 2 and press enter. Boom. And what you're looking for, you see how it says loaded right here? Well, when you see enabled, that lets you know that it's enabled. So that means each time the server reboots, it'll start this service, it'll load this service and start it. And right now it's currently active and running, so we don't have to run any other commands. The server is up and running. And let's quit that and let me clear right fast. I want to show you guys at least how to look at the version that we're running, and this is, I don't know, just informational purpose so you guys can see what version is included in Ubuntu servers at the moment. So right now it's Apache 2.4.52, and this was last built on March 8th. So that's the package that's currently being used. Now let me show you guys how to check the server or verify Apache is actually running or working and hosting out files or sharing out files via the web server. So what you want to do is find out what the IP address of your server is, and you can follow these steps, whether you're in the cloud or if you have a local server. Just wanted to point that out. All you got to do is find out what the IP address of your cloud server, the same exact way you can follow these steps, and it'll give you your public IP address for that server. And as you can see, this one is 165. So what I'm gonna do is go over to my browser and paste that IP address in and go to it, and this will give you a great way of seeing that Apache is actually running on this server, because this is considered a landing page. And it also gives you some information about configuring. It breaks down all the configuration files. You can kind of check that out. It's all the documentation is there on Ubuntu's website. All right, so let's go down and get to the configuration of the server. Now with any Ubuntu server that you're running services on, it doesn't matter if it has access to the internet, you want to lock down ports. You want to go down and lock down all the ports. This is just the basic way of securing your server. Even if it doesn't have services running on that port, you still want to lock down all the ports on the server. And by default, Ubuntu comes with the firewall not enabled or turned on. So what we want to do is go through that process now. And Ubuntu uses an application. It's a front-end application for the actual firewall, which is called IP tables. And UFW has been around for a while, but let's go down and show you guys how to get that set up so we can protect our server. And if we run a quick command sudo UFW and then status, that'll give us the status of the firewall, and as you can see, it's inactive, it's not turned on. But before we turn it on, we want to go on and open up some ports. And mainly the first one you want to open up, especially if this is a cloud server in the cloud and your SSH to it, you want to open up the SSH port, which is port 22. And there's a built-in services within UFW that it recognizes. It recognizes that SSH is installed on this server. It also recognizes that Apache is installed on this server. And so there are names for each one of those profiles that you can open up. So the first profile we want to open up is Open SSH, and you want to do this first. That way you make sure you do this, you don't have any issues losing connection to your server, because that's one thing you can do once you turn on the firewall. You will lose connection to Open SSH if you don't have that port open on the server. So let's type UFW and then allow, which will allow traffic in and out from this port, and the service name is Open and then SSH in all caps. Press enter, or profile, I'm sorry, press enter. That'll add those rules to it, and we can't see the status of it until we activate it. It's not going to show anything, but we ran the rule. Now let me show you guys how to list out those profiles, because that's one thing I should have done in the beginning. But sudo UFW and then the apt list, and this will list out all the app profiles for UFW that are already created. They're already generated profiles for an application that's installed on the system. That way you don't have to put much thought into opening the correct ports. So let's press enter, and as you can see, like I said, it recognizes that we have Apache installed on the server as well as Open SSH. That's the only two applications that require ports on the system currently. And so there are 3 different profiles, and I want to break each one of those down so you guys can understand. So the Apache port, this profile right here that says just Apache, this profile will open port 80 unencrypted, so you won't have that 443 port, and it's just port 80. Now Apache full opens up both the unencrypted and encrypted ports for Apache, which is port 80 and 443. So that'll open up both of those. And then Apache secure, I mean, it makes sense based on the name. It just opens up the 443 port, which is what a lot of people are using nowadays anyway, because you want to have certs on your websites so people understand when they're connecting to your site that the site is secure. But the profile I'll open up is Apache full. That way I can just open up port 80 and 443, because I'm not going to go through the process installing certs on the server. I have another video that covers that 100% using the cert manager that you can install using the package manager on Ubuntu. You can install that cert and it'll automatically put certs against your domains once you get it set up. And once you set that up, you can it's kind of like set and forget. You don't have to really worry about it, and it will keep updating the certs on your server each time they expire. Now let's go down and allow our Apache full. So all we have to do is type sudo UFW and then allow, and then what you have to do is put this in a single quote because it has a space in between it. So Apache full, and you want to type it exactly, you know, using the caps wherever there are caps, and, you know, lowercase on all the other words, you know, or letters. Type it out exactly the way it is, or you can copy and paste it. That'll work as well. So that way UFW knows what profile you're talking about. So let's go down and press enter, and boom, so we have the Apache full ports open. So now that we got both of those open or whatever, then we can go on and turn on our firewall. A specific way to turn it on is very simple, and all you have to do is type sudo UFW and then enable and press enter. That'll enable it, and right here it'll give you a warning. This is the final warning, you know what I'm saying, just to verify that you open up that SSH port, because it sees that you're connected via SSH to this server, and it says command may disrupt existing SSH connection. Proceed with this operation. This is kind of like your final warning. We're going to type Y for yes, press enter. That'll go on and activate the firewall and enable, you know, system startup. So each time the system restarts, it'll start up the firewall as well, and those rules will be in place within the firewall. And we can verify that because we're still connected to the server. As you can see, we're still connected, you know, no worries, we're still connected to it. It didn't kill our SSH port, and I'm just running random commands just to show you guys that we are, you know, still connected SSH to the server. Okay, so we're done with the firewall, and I just wanted to show you guys a couple important files. Well, actually just one really important file, and then I'll show you guys how to configure other files for the server if you need to. And like I said, this is all based on your needs, so just make changes based on your needs. But I wanted to at least show you guys the Apache configuration file. But by default, it's set up properly. It'll work for you. Just if you need to make changes to it, make changes to it. But sudo nano and then etc. And just so you guys know, every application that's installed on Ubuntu, most applications, at least like services type applications similar to a web server, will create a folder, an application folder under the etc directory, which holds all the configuration files. So let's find that file. The exact file that I'm looking for is the apache2.conf. that is the main configuration file for your Apache server, and there's plenty of options in here. You could change like the directories, the server name, you know, different things in here, the document root directory, I'm sorry, but all that information is in here, and you can modify it based on what you need to do. And this is kind of like a global configuration. You really don't need to mess around with it. They got timeouts in here, keep alive settings, keep alive requests, you can set the max, keep alive timeouts, but a lot of these defaults are set up properly, so your server can run, you know, without any issues. And it also goes through the log level, so if you need to modify that, you can change it. Right now it's set to warning, but let's say you don't want to see your warnings, you just only want to see errors or critical or alerts or emergency. You could change that, you know what I'm saying, where your alerts or your log level is set to that. But warnings is fine, you know, they'll kind of capture most things. And then also it kind of covers the format, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Like this is the main directory, so for www, if you guys didn't know, that is the default directory for all your websites. And so let's go ahead and close that out and create our sites. And the first thing you want to do is generate your directories for your website. And like I said a few minutes ago, by looking in that configuration file, the default location for our website files are under var www. And so let's make a directory under that var www directory, and I'm gonna tab it out so you guys can see, but there is already a folder in there. It's HTML. It's an HTML folder, and that's the default actual site. So the first site we're gonna create is considered like a virtual host, but the default one is already there, you know what I'm saying? So it has an HTML file in there and everything. So but what we want to do is create a separate site, and I'm gonna just name it KIT Pro. I'm gonna just name that directory, and then let's put one in there because we're gonna create another one right after this. So let's go sudo make directory var www and then kit pro 1. Press enter. That'll be one of our websites. And we could have put, like most people create those directories using a domain name. They'll just create it, but it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's because like you could put .com on there. It's just a directory, so whatever you name it, you name it. All you have to do is make sure in your configuration files, which I'm gonna show you guys next, it points to that directory specifically. So let's go down and create that second folder as well. So we got both our folders created, and that's going to be our two websites that we want to create. So let's go in back into that configuration file directory for Apache, and actually let's cd to it so you guys can get a better picture of how it actually works. So Apache 2, let's press enter, and let's ls this directory so you can see the directories and files that are in there. We just looked at the apache.conf. Now there is a modules enabled and a modules available. There is a sites available, and config available, and then sites enabled. That's mainly what I want to show you right there. So these two directories is what we're going to be working with. Well, mainly one. The second one, the enabled, is just basically a link. It basically links the configuration files that are in available. And let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So for instance, let's ls these sites available. I need to spell it right, but sites available directory. Boom. As you can see, there's a default configuration file, and that configuration file is for our default website, which is that Apache page, that main page that I showed you guys in the beginning right here. This right here, that default.conf file right here is controlling that page. It's pointing to that directory, and I can show you guys that in a second. Let's go down and cat out that file so you guys can see. But cat, and then let's go 000 tech default.conf. Let's cat that out just to show you guys. It's pointing to that document root of var www HTML. So like I said, it's pointing to that default website, and it has a HTML file in there. And like I said, this is what kind of controls the website, or tells the web server where the files are located for the website that's being pushed out. And if we ls the sites enabled directory, you'll see that file link there. So that is a link file, and you can tell by the colors, and I kind of know because I've been using Linux for a while, but that is a link file. That's the color of a link file, and basically it's just linked to the file under sites available. And I'll show you guys how to enable it using a command. But first, let's go down and create our configuration files for each one of our servers. And so under these sites available, let's go there. Let's go to that directory. And I hope I'm not confusing you, but we can cd under that directory. So sites available. Let's ls again so you guys can see. And what I want to do is just copy that 00 default. So sudo copy, and then what we want to copy is that 00 default.config, and I want to copy into that same directory. So I'm gonna just put a period and /, just to let the system know that I want to put it within this directory of sites available. But I'm gonna create another file, and we'll name that kitpro1.conf, and it needs to be a conf file. So just press enter, and if we ls this directory again, we'll see that we have that kitpro.conf. And then let's go down and do the exact same thing for 2. So we're gonna copy that one as well. Let's ls. We got both of those configuration files. Now we need to go in and modify them. So we can type sudo nano and then kitpro1.config. And this is a basic understanding of this file. Right here, it gives you a whole bunch of notes. You can read this over, but I'll just show you guys the basic setup for it. And what I do to make it kind of, simpler to see, because I kind of understand all this information, I just wipe out all these comments because we really don't need them. They're just kind of taking up space at the end of the day. And it allows you not to really understand the file. It'll confuse you more than help you at the end of the day. And that's just my opinion. But essentially, once you get rid of all the comments, you'll see how simple this file looks. So we got our server admin, that's webmaster localhost. You can leave that there. And what you mainly want to focus on is the domain name, as well as the domain alias, as well as the document root for this website. So right there, you'll see it has a document root already. We know what site this is going to be. This is going to be for our kitpro1. And that's why I kind of named it the same, so I'll know exactly what the folder directory is. And you just need to specify the document root for this website. And then also set up your domain name. So you want to type server name, all one word, put a space up in there, then type in your website. So I'm going to do kitpro1.com. And then a lot of times people set up aliases, so you can go in here and type an alias if you want to. And most of the time that is the www in front of it, basically. So kitpro1.com. And that's pretty much it. It'll store all the error logs in the error log file, as well as the access logs combined. So that's just logging information, but that's pretty much it for it. So let's go down and save this file, and I'll show you guys what to do in order to get it enabled, as well as connect to it. So let's go down and save that file. And what I should have did was copy the Kit Pro file. So let's go copy, and then let's copy our kits pro 1.conf, and we should be able to copy that and replace that information that's in there. So let's edit that file as well, just to make it super quick. Let's see, kit pro 2, press enter. As you can see, it has all that information in there that we just, you know, wiped out, all the comments and stuff. And we want to make this kit pro 2, and then kit pro 2, and then that directory, all we have to do is change that to kit pro 2. And let's go down and save that. Yes, boom, good to go. Now let's go down and create our website files right fast. And this will be simple. First, we want to give it some permissions, or we want to change the permissions, just verify the permissions so we can modify the files within this directory. And all we have to do is type sudo chown, and chown is basically change the ownership. And then let's put -R, which will specify from the top down of the directory. So anything within that directory will have the same owner. And let's use the variable that's built into the operating system. So user, and then put colon, and then $user again. And this basically takes the value of the user you're currently logged in on. So Josh, basically, it'll basically give me permissions to this directory. So var www, and then what we want to do is put those kit pro directories in there. So kit pro 1, and press enter. And then let's do the exact same thing for kit pro 2. Boom. And then also let's just modify the permissions just to verify that those permissions are correct. So chmod, and then -R, and then let's use permission 755, and let's just use this whole directory. Let's just do var and then www, and press enter. That'll make sure, and actually I meant to not put the dash on the end, but yeah, everything in that directory. And we can ls this directory so you guys can see. So the permission changes, as well as the user and group changes, just by typing the ls command, and then var, and then www. Let's just look in that directory first. So as you can see, we have ownership of that file. We just use the variable that's set by the system, or we could have just put Josh in there. That's fine, it doesn't matter. And the permissions are right here. Okay, cool. So let's go down and create our website files, our HTML files. So let's go down and do that right fast, which I should have did that before changing the permissions, but we'll go in and just modify it again. It's no problem. So sudo, actually let's just go nano, and that'll keep the ownership, I know for sure. So nano, and then var www, and then the kit pro 1, we want to start with that, kit pro 1, and then kit pro 1.html, and press enter. And I already have some HTML written out, so I'm gonna just paste it in there, and then show you guys what it actually says. But as you can see, it just says welcome to kit pro 1 success. The kit pro virtual host is now working, or is working. So let's go down and save that, press enter, boom. And then we could just copy that file. So let's copy var www kit pro 1, and then kit pro 1.html, and let's copy that to our var www, and then kit pro 2 to that directory, boom. And actually I messed up, but let's go down and fix it right fast. So let's go move, because I wanted the name to be different. So var www kit pro 2, and then let's go to kit pro 1.html, and I want to move that into the same location, but I want to change the name. So www kit pro, And I hope I'm not confusing you guys. This is kind of like the simplest way to do it, just copying it or moving it, and this will change the name of it. And then let's go in and modify that. So let's go nano and then var www, and I should have just cd to this directory so I don't have to keep typing it all out. But kitpro 2.html, as you can see, it changed the name of it, so it's not the same name. So let's press enter. Let's just go in here, and I want to modify this so you guys can see the different virtual host on this server. So let's go down, press Control X, go down to save, you know, that file, those changes. And then now let's just go through and quickly run the permissions on that directory again, just to verify. And the ownership should still be the same, but I'm gonna run it again just to verify, just to make sure. Let's do kitpro 1, and then let's go through and do kitpro 2, just to make sure the ownership is right on those directories. Now the next thing we need to do is enable our sites in order for them to start showing up. And since we already have our configuration files set up, let's go down and test them. So we can run a command, and let's clear so you guys don't see all that mess that was up there before. But you can verify all the configuration files by typing one command. So sudo and then Apache to ctl and then config test, and this will test out all your configuration files. And as you can see, we're good to go. Could not reliably determine server's fully qualified domain name, which is fine, that's fine. Set the server name directive globally to suppress this message, that's if you want to, but all our syntax are okay. So those configuration files we created earlier are good to go. Now let's go down and enable our configuration files. So all we have to do is type one command, is sudo a2, and this is where we get into those commands I talked about earlier. So there's a enable site command, so, and that's what we want to do. We want to enable the site. So kitpro, and I'm gonna tab it out because it's gonna show you the two different configuration files so you guys can see. So we're gonna run the first one, the first config, and as you can see right there, it says enabling site kitpro 1, and basically what it's saying is for that site to fully show up, since it's been enabled, is to restart the Apache server. But we're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna go down and do the second configuration file. So press enter, boom, as you can see, it's good to go. Now let's go down and run our restart of Apache. So sudo system ctl and then restart Apache 2, boom, and press enter. That restarts the server for us. You could have ran reload, but I just ran restart just to restart the server. Now let's go down and check our sites. And now one thing I didn't explain, I know I'm making this video kind of long, but I just want to make sure you guys understand what I'm saying. So these are fake domain names. kitpro 1, kitpro 2, I did not create those. I didn't buy a domain that says kitpro1.com or kitpro2.com, but I'm doing a little trick in the background within my host file that allows me to connect directly to the server, and it appears to look like it's kitpro1.com or kitpro2.com, and it's based on my host file, what I put in my host file. And basically I put kitpro1.com is translated to the IP address of this server. So I have the 165 IP address in my host file pointing to kitpro1 as well as kitpro2.com. So that's how I'm able to do this. So I can't show you guys that because obviously I would have to buy a domain, make changes so it points to this server, this server's IP address. And a lot of times with DNS it takes a while, and so I didn't want to, you know, make the video even longer, or at least me recording it even longer by doing all that. Now let's hop over to our browser. And as you can see, it still has that page up there, but we're gonna open up another tab and just type kitpro1.com and press enter. And as you can see, it pulls up that, well, it didn't pull up that HTML, and actually I need to go in and modify that. That might be why that didn't pop up, but it's kitpro1.html. that is the site. And actually we could change that in the configuration file, but let's go down and go to the other one just so you guys can see. But let's go kitpro2.com, press enter, and actually it's supposed to bring that up, but like I said, I can fix that in the configuration files. But as you can see, brings up the site perfectly. So I know that was a little long, but that basically shows you how to get Apache set up and then also setting up virtual hosts. And I hope you found this tutorial informative and helpful. But by following the steps that I laid out, you should now be able to have a working Apache web server running on Ubuntu server 22.04. Now remember, Apache is a powerful web server that can be configured in many different ways to suit your specific needs. Like for instance, I didn't get into setting up PHP, which will be included in like one of my LAMP stack tutorials that I've done in the past. So be sure to check out the Apache documentation for more information on how to configure and use this powerful tool. Now, if you have any questions or comments about this tutorial, please feel free to leave them down in the comment sections below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more tutorials on Linux and other tech topics. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and of course, keep it techie.